everyone! I hope you're enjoying this interview style video. I really enjoyed making it and editing it. Before you continue with the video, make sure you go subscribe to Sam's channel. He has incredible videos and he is so, excited to share all of his knowledge of design with everyone. And yeah, his channel is just super, super cool. And yeah, enjoy designers discussing design. Can you tell us about a project that you were really proud of? Something that you've done that you're like just happy. It's like this is your baby.
Yeah, I mean, over the past few years, I've done a few things that I'm really happy with in terms of like design on my own thing. So whether that's the gantry lights and work that I've done with them, weight it was my first light with gantry, and it's that's always going to hold a special place because that was when that first showed up and the final product showed up. It had my name on the box. It said designed by Sam Gwilt, and that was like, man, like,
wow, yeah.
in a box, that was really exciting. So that I think, at Encore recently, when I released that at the tail end of last year, that was, a second light with them, and I was able to take what I'd learned designing weight and apply it to Encore. But the thing that I think that I'm most proud of is actually the work that I'm doing on YouTube. And I would say that YouTube is something that I have designed. Well, I haven't designed YouTube. A YouTube channel is something that I have designed and is something that I can work on and see the results of, and hopefully share some helpful information. So that, I think, is my most proud creation, I guess.
That's so nice. Oh, that's very cool. I actually, there's the your Encore light. I wanted to just add something. I love the intention behind it. It's so cool. I like when I realized what you had done. I was like, wow, okay, this is cool.
So yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know, like it was inspired by curtains and theater curtains and light coming through and stuff, which to me I think sounds quite noble and theatrical and things. But when press started to talk about it, or I sent off press releases and I started to get a couple of people writing articles, all of the headlines were just like, this lamp is inspired by curtains, and it just sounded so I don't know, curtains is so mundane and so boring, and I was like, yeah, I really wanted it to be drama filled, like theater-esque, and they were like, no, this light's inspired by curtains.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm imagining like red velvet curtains,
Yeah,
And then when you said light inspired by curtains, I was imagining a shower curtain.
exactly. Yeah, shower curtain. Oh, I was so worried that it was going to look like a shower curtain, particularly as it goes around a rail. In fact, yeah, I can show it. Bear with me a
Oh
second.
yes, I would love that.
Can we see this? Is this in focus now? Yeah. Yeah. So, so yeah, the fact that I've got these curtains, like the ripples that run around it, on the top shade, I was so worried that it was just going to look like a shower curtain running around the bath. So I did so many tests of like, how big should the ripples be? What shape should the profile be on top to, softer, rounder things for some reason look more like a shower curtain. So I flattened the sides off. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how it's done. I'm really pleased with what Gantry has done to figure this out as well, because part of their design notes is that you're not allowed any intricate patterns because people have to sand it flat and people have to finish it, and that's like the top thing, like do not use patterns. And I'm like, my lamp has got all these ridges and ribs. So fair play to them for being able to get that with a really nice finish. So yeah, really pleased with Gantry.
It looks so nice. Like I think also what I think the different, like what does the difference between the shower curtain and the theater curtain is that in the top you don't have the ripple. You know, it's like faded at the top. And then because that's how it behaves. Whereas a shower curtain will be like rippled all over
the loop at the top. Yeah,
yeah,
that's very true. So maybe that smooth surface on top helps a lot.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm a big fan. So.
Very much.
Okay, so next question is, how did the whole COVID crisis impact the way you work and impact? Well, obviously, like you had to, you know, not do remote work for a time and all that stuff. Like, how do you feel it impacted your process and just like the habits that you had around your designing process?
Yeah, it's been a really weird year, and also a really strange year to start a company. Like I started at Leia, I had 1 month, and then it's like, okay, go work from home. And I was still learning everyone's names. You know, like it's really strange thing. I did manage to go. We managed to go and work back in the studio during the summer for a brief time, and then now we're back again working from home. And yeah, you have to become really quite self-reliant.
Yeah.
For me, design is like collaborative, and you know, let's talk through a problem and how can we all fix it. Okay, you've had this idea, I'll bounce this off you, and then you know, and we get there eventually. You know, as a team, you sort of like problem solve, and it's great. Whereas this year, everybody, or I don't want to speak for everyone because it might be different at Leia or it might be different at other companies. But for me, I felt very like this is my task and I'm on my own doing it. And then I just show everyone at the end, and that's my thing.
Yeah.
Which is sometimes good because it's like, you know, I'm proud of that thing that I did. But other times I feel like, oh, if I'd have spoken about it and bounced ideas off with other people, it could have been more.
Yeah.
So that's how I felt. Just a little bit, just confined a little bit by this, you know, working from home stuff. But it's been interesting to adapt to, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. The adapting part to me was quite interesting because I could see not only in my like the way that I was working, because I did some freelance work when I was in the UK, and I did some other stuff. Like it wasn't like a regular job. And then I started my YouTube channel and all that stuff, and definitely like the way that I was working was changing so much. But I also noticed the way that companies would adapt to this change. And like in France, for example, I keep coming back to that because it's so weird. But France takes so much time. I don't know if you know about this, but France is very late when it comes to using technology, like integrating technology into the culture. In schools, they don't allow, you know, using your computer to take notes in high school. And it's very slow, like, process to go to, you know, digital and stuff like that. And it was brilliant to watch France go through this because everyone is just so reluctant for some reason to, you know, just do it on the computer. And I feel like it like, I mean, for me as well, like when I was doing design, I've never used a tablet to draw. I mean, I now have used it, but when I was in university, it was paper and pens, and that was our exam. We had to use papers and pens, and that was it. And it's very interesting looking at them adapting to this, you know, to having to do, you know, digital work. It's not doing very well.
Yeah, that's a good point. That whole companies, if they pride themselves on doing things, you know, physically on paper or whatever, and then all of a sudden it's like, nope, you've got to go and do it online. That's part of the issue, I guess.
Yeah.
And we were kind of similar, where we'd still have like huge boards that we would pin stuff up to, and take a step back and look at it, and like the traditional like post-it note industrial design stuff. And now it's like we don't have that. We use Miro or something similar,
Yeah.
and there's all sorts of, I don't know how honest I should be, but seeing everyone's cursors on Miro, you can see like where everyone's mouse is, and I hide out in the taskbar at the bottom. I'm like putting my mouse down there, but watching what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
Can't see my mouse just hovering. Yeah, it's a weird way to work.
Right, it is weird. I don't know if I think it's good or bad yet. I'm not sure where I am. Yeah.
I think we're going to need. I mean, now that we've seen it's going to be, it is possible to do this digital
Yeah.
work. I think it would be nice to have a balance and a mix of both when we can, because sometimes it does have its benefits. Whether you want to track everything on Miro and you can go through and see your progress, whereas if it was on a board that you had pinned up, you have to take all your work down so the next group can pin up their stuff, so you lose it. So it does have some benefits over physical. So yeah, I think a mix would be nice.
Yeah, I agree. Because some things, it's like you want to keep the analog aspect of it. You want to be able to like talk about ideas while you're working. Yeah, definitely. I think a mix of the two is nice. But yeah, I've noticed like these little businesses doing stuff like this, and it's really interesting because I mean, if we talk, we can open up this whole new subject. But if we talk about like the way that design evolves after a crisis, it's insane. Like after World War II, there was so much development, and yeah, I've been like watching a lot of stuff about people who think that it's going to lead to a lot of like growth and a lot of innovation and stuff like that. So it's quite interesting.
And I do wonder whether, like, maybe after the, like you said, the World War II crisis, and after that, all of these changes in design, architecture, city planning, everything like that, I think particularly things like architecture and city planning are going to change now, like after this one. And that's going to be really interesting to see as well, to see how maybe we'll see more open space, more courtyards and open spaces with ventilation and things like that integrated into buildings. Because I don't think when everything goes back to normal, it's not going to be, okay, let's just design a building however we already did do it. It's going to be really on people's mind for ventilation, airflow, sanitation, and to integrate that more into the daily life. I think that's going to be interesting to see as well.
Yeah, and see how like material, like the way you use different materials is going to change, like the way, like which materials people use. I don't know, for a bench, for example, when you're talking about sanitizing and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely. I think there's going to be, it's interesting, and it's yeah. I mean. I think that we might be looking at some like exciting stuff, like in terms of environmental change, and like the way that we want to impact the environment less, and how we can do that through city planning and architecture and design and stuff like that. So I'm excited for the next bit, but I'm also scared. You just don't know what to expect anymore. So.
Yeah.